Okay, the first training is on space and furnishing. As you can see on the first slide, we have the materials that you will need to just gather. And back in the day, we used to have our training boxes per training. So I would recommend to create something like that. You might not need an entire box because there are not many out of the norm materials, but you do need to make a copy of certain items in your from your Sakers book. So I recommend that you either laminate them or put them on sheet protectors or use hardstock paper so they can last a little bit longer. I would probably laminate them or use protector sheets so they can be sanitized and wiped instead of printing a whole new set every time you have a training. So we will be going over items 4 through 7. You can make one per participant if you don't have that many, or maybe one per table, or however it's more convenient for you. The transfer of learning, it's also going to be, it's already on the ASO and Georgia PDS, but I will also email it to you guys. And there are some QR codes that we will be using. So if you want to print them, you can, but you don't have to because they're going to be on the presentation. And that's just to limit us printing so much stuff. We will use the QR codes so they can access the file and save it on their phone or email themselves the file so they have access to that file at a later time. Sticky notes for the activities, paper and writing materials just to have it in hand just in case someone needs it, a dry erase marker and board if you have it, or a chart paper and markers. That's just for the activities that are going to be happening for this training. So here you can update the presentation, add your name and your information on it. It's a space and furnishing training, and it's a 1-hour training for school age providers. The second slide, housekeeping, remind them about, I put their registration because they do need to be registered in Georgia PDS. You know, sometimes they tell a friend of a friend who attends a training and they bring them with them, and then they don't get credit because they just showed up, but they weren't registered in Georgia PDS. So just reminding them that they do need to register in Georgia PDS. Participation, just a little reminder again that they are expected to participate in the activities and stay awake and to collaborate with their peers and their colleagues during the training. That way we can get the most out of it. Point out any facilities, bathroom, remind them of the phones and all that good stuff. And this is just a little reminder here. When you see this icon right here, that just means that there is a handout attached to that activity, a slide, or to use that handout when that slide shows up. I'll bring it up in just a minute. And of course, I added here the 4 agreements, but it's just to basically respect each other and assume the best out of each other, best intentions, and don't take anything personal. There are different programs that have different type of resources. Some have more than others, and let's just assume that we're all doing the best we can. We will go over the objectives. The objectives did not change from the webinar. They are still the same. And all the notes at the bottom of the slides, if you want to print out the presenter notes, that way you have some of the talking points, because although sometimes it does repeat what is on the slide, there's additional talking points in there just so it's not too wordy on the slide. But again, the content, it's still the same. Just for this slide, just show the slide and ask the question about why space is so important and how, and just start some kind of conversation in there. You can ask for volunteers to write on the board for your dry erase board, or even on the on a sticky note on their table if you don't want them to be coming in and out or getting the space, depending on the space that you have. If you are in some kind of stage or, you know, when they have those layer seats, you don't want them coming up and down. You can have them write them on a sticky note and then post them on the wall, like a parking lot type of thing. Let me move you guys out of the way. And then just kind of go over some of their answers. If it's a smaller group, then you can just have them shout it out too, that's fine. Ask them questions, and depending on how much talking they're doing, you might need to ask them like, what does it mean when you're talking about a quiet space, or what does it mean age appropriate materials, and just kind of talk with them about that. This slide is just a reading slide. You can ask participants to help you read it. It does come with different type of animation to it to just emphasize certain areas a little bit more. That sense of ownership. The children need to, in order for this to happen, the children need to be seen and they need to be heard and listened to. And it just comes with different type of animations that emphasize different important things from those passages. And setting up this place. So this one will be for the displays that they need just at the entrance and those type of things that we will be looking at. But let's just try to get them first to see if they know what do they need posted. We're going to have a lot of programs that have a lot of new people that they might not have not had a chance to even be in a program that's open. And they're going to be training before they even open a site. So that this will be helpful for them to just go ahead and get started with a good habit of checking that everything is up to date. But you can ask them to shout it out. And, you know, this right here kind of helps me to remind myself that to just shout out, or people just take turns popcorn style to, you know, if you want to add a ball, throw a beach ball and whoever catches it can say something, you know, depending on what you got on hand. But it's just basically naming things that you will be asking for them to have displayed in their board or in the public for adults and children to see. And then you go over some of the items. If they already said some of those, you know, kudos to them, and maybe they missed some of them. Maybe the current menu might be something that we need to remind them of. Their daily schedule, allergies posted. They might say, well, confidentiality does not allow us. Just remind them of a good way to do it. Just, you don't need the child's entire name. You just need to let the facility or the people that work around you know that there's a peanut allergy, you know, and initials of the child. That way they are aware of that allergy and they have something that reminds them, especially if there's new staff. So just kind of go over those. And there's a lot of examples in these trainings because sometimes they have a hard time seeing it because they have to pack everything up and start all over again every single session. So here's a display on using trifolds for diversity in the classroom or just diversity in general, and displaying their art. And so they have a trifold, and sometimes the school does allow them to post some things on their closet doors or a specific area in the lunchroom. Again, this is another example on how to set up their information. They have the schedule in there, they have the menus, they have you know, all the other information that they need to post, who's the director, and those type of things. Then we're moving up to setting up furnishing, and this will be for item number 5 on the scale. And just asking them this type of questions, like what are some of the routine care items that they will be needing in their space, and just give them the scenario to imagine a group of children walking in the childcare area. What does this look like? Just to have them picture them walking in. If the children are walking in, how does it look like? What can the child expect? Where are they going to put their backpacks at? Do they have cubbies? Or baskets, and are they labeled? And yes, even though they use them and they might wash them or disinfect them daily, it is important that they have a labeled basket for the children. And where do they wash their hands, and who's in charge of washing hands, and how do they upkeep the furnishing, and who cleans the tables, how often they clean the tables. So just making them think a little bit about prepping before the children get there, because they do have to set up the classroom before the children get there. And also, how does it look when the children are arriving? Because it's going to be chaotic. It's depending on how their system on dropping off the children, it's going to be chaotic. So just talking a little bit about that furnishing, the baskets, personal belongings, and how the furnishing is taken care of. The next item is item number 7. And depending on your time, this is towards the middle of the presentation. You can go over the scale and just read it with them. This is for item number 7, review it, and it's going to be about relaxation and comfort. Here are some of the pictures that have been shared with me, and one of them is one of the programs that we visited not long ago, actually. So that is an updated slide from, I just added another picture in there from the webinar, but it's not too difficult to add a relaxing comfort area, and reminding them the importance of not only just having that space, but also how to treat that space, because you're going to have the children that, yes, this middle picture right here, it's comfortable, isn't it? It's nice and comfy, and some of them like, oh, I can just relax there with the book. But another child might see it as a tumbling area, as a place for me to just body slam myself on those bean bags. So just reminding them to teach the children how to use those areas. You can also use this picture right here with the lamp and ask them, what can you add to this area to make it a relaxing and comfort area? Because you see it right now and it's a little bit cold, a little bit hard. What can you add based on those 2 examples that we have here that are really nice and comfortable spaces? What can you add in this area that it's going to make it that place that the child is going to want to relax? Okay, so moving on with space and furnishing, we are going to, in a way, we just kind of started the day of the children arriving. What do they need as soon as they arrive, and how to take care of that part of the day. Now we're going to talk about what they need, like what kind of activities they should have out, what kind of activities they should offer, how long do they need to be out, and what's the access looking like for those materials. So allow them to get in, depending on how big your group is, they can talk to their neighbor, they can be in groups of 2, 3, 4. It's really going to depend on how big your group is. Allow them a couple minutes, it says 10 minutes, to do a list, to create a list of materials. Give them an idea, to separate them by categories, and then list a couple materials. And how would they organize that, those type of materials with the given storage room that they have, and with keeping in mind that they might have to collect everything and put it away at the end of the day. You know, there are 2 or 3 programs that I'm currently working with that don't have to do that, but the majority will have to do that. At this point is like the halfway point, the 25-minute mark after the discussion. And they're going to share. So just sharing, giving them a chance to each group share something that the previous group has not mentioned. So just have them be ready to present something. If one group already presented some games with numbers, then have another, the next group presents a different category or different type of materials until you ran out, or if you notice that you guys have been talking for a little bit longer, then it just you can just collect a couple of examples because you are going to go through all of them on the next slide. So again, after that discussion, then you can talk to them about the different categories, and those are the item numbers are on the book. So I do recommend that you have the book present with you so you can show them the book. A lot of we want to make them as familiar as possible with the books, with the Sakers book. We give them the categories and talk a little bit about what type of materials in each section. We are going to show this video. Let's see. And it's already embedded either in the presentation, but the link is also at the bottom just in case you do need it.
The program environment is important at Children's Choice. Children can choose from a wide variety of child-directed activities in the environment, open-ended activities that require little or no help from adults. Each day, the activity area is transformed into a model environment, which includes child-directed interest centers, a quiet home-like area appropriate for relaxing, having conversations, or doing homework, a fine motor skill area, each week a new manipulative, Legos, Lincoln Logs, Connects, bristle blocks, marble tracks, and many more. An art area where we do artsy arts and crafty crafts. We have Play-Doh, markers, stencils, stamps, glue, beads, and many more. There's a dramatic play area. Each week it's a new theme, a restaurant, hair salon, construction, grocery store, firefighters, and many more that all promote the development of speaking, listening, and self-expression. There's a strategy games area with dice, card, and board games for all ages that promote math and strategic thinking. There's a snack area. Children's Choice Snack consists of at least 2 healthy food choices from different food groups and 100% fruit juice or milk. Snacks are always served family style, so children will be able to choose not only the type of snack, but the amount of snack that they wish. During vacation camps and extended care days, we will serve a morning and an afternoon snack. We provide novelty and enrich the environment through new colors, posters, child's art, and music. The program environment is a warm, nurturing, and encouraging climate, a place where children are challenged in a non-threatening way.
And for this video, yes, you're going to have probably some people comment on, well, we're supposed to serve snack this way. Okay, just do what you need to do. The main important thing right here that we want to make sure that they get, and you can even ask them that before the video, what is something, pay attention to the video and take note something that no matter how your program runs, something that we can all do and try to do, which is the last sentence that he says.
The program environment is a warm, nurturing, and encouraging climate, a place where children are challenged in a non-threatening way.
So just that sentence, and that's what we want them to do. You know, we want them to provide them with the activities, the materials, the open-ended materials that children can use and feel comfortable using. And then the next couple of slides are just examples on how to set up the classroom. You can talk about the pictures, how the different resources are used, like the signs for labeling each center for this particular classroom. Again, you can see that they use the gym for their school age program. They use cones to separate the different centers. And they put everything that they have in there for that center. And it is cleaned up daily. The other one, they use tables. And they put all their gardening stuff, all their centers on the table, the materials that they need for that activity. And this is a close-up on the signs that they're using. Again, this is just another example again on the different type of activities, giving them a comfortable space to use those materials. And the activities are set up intentionally, not just a bunch of different type of materials in the middle of the floor. I did cover the faces of all the children because again, when we did the webinar version, I just emailed all of you guys and asked for pictures that you guys had. So some people might say, hey, that's my school, you know, but so they should be proud that we use their school for some examples. But just talk to them about what does access mean? You know, sometimes they might have some very hard to open containers, and if they're closed, it's not going to be accessible, especially if they have those pre-Kers in there. How long should they have the materials accessible for, and what kind of activities to offer and how to offer them. So just point out, you can point out to each picture where the first picture it's art and crafts. So they have a table, they have somewhere comfortable to use those materials. And the next one, they're using blocks and they're on the floor because it's a more comfortable space to use those type of activities and materials. And the science table where they have the materials at the table. Again, this video, the next video is just on trying to encourage them to set up the classroom, to set up every single day. We know that they might be a little tired of bringing everything out, taking it back to the closet. And this is just a fun short video that is at, I don't know, I'm thinking 30 times speed because they move very fast. I will show a little bit about it. And it starts off with that nice song. And it's the same one from the webinar. And they start blank, completely empty, and so we won't watch the whole 2 minutes because you'll be tired at the end, but yeah, so there's only 2 videos for this presentation, but for each video, ask them to write down something that stands out to them, something they say, something they see, or something they do in the video that is going to point out to them. This one has a lot of short quotes on it, like intentionality. So we want them to notice that everyone in that room had a role. They knew what their role was because they were all crossing paths and they knew that what they had to get to make it happen. And this happens every day. Here are some ways of storing all those materials that they will have to bring out every day. And so my photo editing is not the best, but I tried my best because I did not have pictures of them at the moment. But here is an idea, you know, put a label on it and the recommended materials that you need for that specific center. That way, you just grab and go. The children will know what to put back in that basket or in that bin when it's time to clean up as well. And This QR code right here, if you scan it with your phone, you're going to get the materials and the signs. So if you scan it right now, can one of you please tell me? I've tried it many times and it worked on my phone. But let me know if you get a Google Doc that is the center signs with the materials. Because remember, this document is like 10 pages long, and it's better if it's printed in color.
You get the materials.
Awesome, thank you.
Got it.
So that's something that we can just have them save on their phone. You know, save it, email it to themselves, or download it on their phone, save the Google Doc on their phone. But it's there. And those are the materials that they get is this right here, the center signs and the materials in there. How to get organized. Again, you know, who is in charge, number one, on setting up the materials? Sometimes they have people that come in earlier than others because of their work schedules, but who's in charge of setting up the materials? How many groups do you need? What kind of space do you have? How many bins does it allow? You might have a place that is using a church space that it's just a small room. Or you might have a very large group that serves K through 8th, and you have to rotate the groups in between other areas that you're allowed to use. So just having them think about how they use that space. And these are, again, examples on how those materials were used and organized. And then we're moving on to the outdoor space. This is an ideal dream of an outdoor space for school age programs, but it's two extremes. That, whoa, you have all the playground that you want, to, oh, you have no playground at all. So we're going to talk to them about both of them, and that yes, you can have a nice set out outside, even if you are only allowed to use a grassy area. This is a new slide that was added, and it's just talking about the gross motor skills. What is gross motor, and what kind of materials and activities and those type of planning activities that you can do outside or inside with gross motor. So this is the new slide right here. And outdoor equipment. And for this one, it is a little bit different from the webinar because I added more images to it and separated it a little bit more. So with portable, made a list of portable materials and how they can take it outside, because the majority of the programs that we're working with are going to have this cart. And if they don't, maybe, you know, giving them an idea on how to transport it back and forth. But we'll go over portable materials. And it is an animated slide. So here comes my technology abilities. Let me see. So when they're going outside, they need to remember to bring the tissue, a first aid kit, and it just shows up in there. So, and then you go over the outdoor equipment for stationary. What does stationary mean? And there's an example right there. Again, you might say, hear from someone, hey, that's my school. This picture right here, I tried to erase as much as I could from the surroundings, but it's a good idea on how they could take this basketball hoop outside. And they don't have the cart, but they put everything they're going to play with inside that trash can that with the basketball hoop that rolls out. And so that's another idea to store their outdoor equipment. And talk about stationary. What does stationary mean? Even though it's not anchored to the ground, it's meant to stay put. So that's what stationary means. And that's some examples on what they can be. Another QR code, and this is part of the transfer of learning, to as a recap of everything we have done today. This you can print out if you want to. There's the little icon of handouts. You can print it out if you want to, but here is the QR code for them to get the whole entire document. It's going to just separate the whole training and recap it. The displays, check off if you have them, and this can help them when opening, when setting up the program. They can add more if they want to, and that's why I added the QR code just in case their program specifically is asking for them to post, I don't know, some other stuff, parent handbook or updated license report. I don't know, if they have their own things that they wanted to update, they can. And on the so on this side, they can check off if they have it. And on the other side is blank because they can add their notes, get updated menu, expired 3 months ago, or just write themselves a note on what they need to do to update that section. And other items to consider, which for item number 5, it gives you the page number. I'm just going over different checklists and what they need to remind themselves about. Another QR code where you can print this and pass it out if you want to. It's a 2-pager, but this is going to help them with setting up each area, making sure that they do offer children a little bit of all the different areas of art. And then all this information comes straight from the book and the materials checklist that they already did the scan on. And it gives them the page number to go on the Saker's book, and also a list of materials that they are recommended to have in that specific area, and how they will score, because their space might only allow them to score up to a 3. In some other areas, they might be able to score up to a 5. If they have to travel far to the bathroom, art area might just have markers, crayons, a couple of collage stuff, and instead of the program that has the sink and the bathroom right in front of them, that they might be able to offer more paint and more creative and messy play. So again, the QR code is there and it should work. Any questions? Depending on how talkative your participants are, that's how you're going to kind of time it. It's only 1 hour, and those trainings go a little bit fast, but the QR code for the evaluation will be added once I get the link for it. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a question, Letty.
Yes.
On the printed pages from the scale book, is there any possible way that we could get a clean copy of that? Because all of our scale books are all marked up.
Yes.
And
yes, because I do have brand new books here, so I can
okay.
I will email it to you guys.
Okay.
Because of copyrights, I don't think I can do a QR code for them.
Okay.
So I will email it to you guys so you can print it and laminate it or put it in protector sheets. Dollar Tree has really good protector sheets that are meant for tracing letters, that have like the color border, but I use them for protector sheets where a lot of my programs have been using them to put displays on, and they're sturdy. So if you don't have a laminator, or if you can't get them laminated, that's also a possibility.
Okay. I just know my book is
yeah, mine too, girl. Mine too. Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to make heads or
No.
tails of what they were looking for.
Yes. So I will send you guys the clean, because I do have a couple books that are not written on yet.
Okay. That was my only question.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, so if we can take a 5-minute break, and then we can go ahead and start on the next one.
Thank you, lady. See y'all ladies later.